good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and whatever time I find you. I greet all colleagues who are in the captivity of Mr. Museveni, especially those who try to fight to break the chains. We live in a country, a colleague of mine was telling me the other day that every person who will survive the junta, the despotic leadership of Mr. Museveni, must be awarded with a certificate or an honor or a medal for survival. For we live by accident and die by design. There is nothing that has been put up in this country that makes one to feel a Ugandan, one to feel secure. So I want to applaud you, all of you who try to survive in this country. These days we've been discussing about the issue of foreign companies leaving the country. But this exodus has not happened in one day. I think the reason why it is capturing headlines, it is because Ugandans, Mr. Museveni has amplified the talk of foreign investment, encouraging there, how they've tried their level best, him launching each and every day a company of a foreigner. We have seen the approach of Mr. Museveni wanting to tell us that possibly the regime's interest is driving an economy that is driven by foreign direct investment. When during the time of Field Marshal Idi Amin Dada, he had wanted to Africanize the economy of this country, to put the economy in the hands of Uganda. It had hurt him to drive around Kampala Road, and it was hard then to see a shop or an enterprise owned by a Ugandan or by an African. But today, if you hear of a big company, it is foreign-based banks, factories, businesses, even others have gone into retail. But as many are coming as they say, of course many are leaving. The environment had been set up, we even have the Uganda Investment Authority established. Mr. Museveni gives them land, gives them tax holidays, gives them even tries to create a market so that protects them so that they do not compete. You hear they are given what we call them bank guarantees. So you give an investor land, you give an investor tax holidays, and also give him money. For us, our fault in the FDC, we think an economy must be driven by the locals, because that is when all the money remains in the country. Because foreign direct investment means foreigners bring their money not to work for you, to work for their shareholders back home. So they pick all the profits that they gain, they take back to the benefit of the shareholders. They don't bury, they don't engage in social activities. So even others carry their own food. So that tells you that we only get a few pennies out of these so-called foreign direct investment. It is on record that many companies in this country die before they see their first birthday. In the world, we are number one. But because those are basically Ugandan, they don't make news. Nobody cares. They even die because the infrastructure that has been established in this country does not help them to hold. to keep around. Because like there was a land that was given to Aga Khan in Akawa, plus tax holidays. But if that land had been given to Ugandan doctors with tax holidays, wouldn't we have a better deal? The hospital in Lubowa and many others that are being given to foreigners, because we would think that a foreigner has a lot of resources that may not need tax holidays, may not need land, he should buy it. But what we know, they actually don't get free, all that free, from what I'm going to submit today. Those who call foreign investors, what we hear as a free land is not actually free land, somebody picks money. What we hear as tax holiday is not tax holiday, somebody picks money out of it. What we hear, all those waivers, no, not those waivers, that is actually these people pay someone to achieve that. We have had them going to manufacturing, but when actually they do not manufacture, they only assemble, and they stop Ugandans who are importing the same commodities. Today, I am bringing you a story of a foreigner who had worked in this country. He was an engineer, an expatriate, worked and later had a company. And because of the extortion, the bribery at every level, fair to follow the rules, fair to follow the ink that is written, that he decided to leave this country. And what he told his colleagues when he went to Australia. David Cameron, who was Prime Minister of the UK, in 2017 said that if the money that is stolen in Uganda was stolen in the UK, the economy would collapse. Mr. Museveni, on opening Parliament session 2016, he said that money that had been stolen for roads would actually construct 5,000 kilometers of roads. 5,000 kilometers of roads eaten by government bureaucrats, NRM politicians, eat the money. Matembe, in her book, recent book, I forget the title, she said that when she was made ethics minister, she thought that her cardinal role was to fight corruption. And she went out to start fighting corruption. She said she won't touch the small fish. She said, let me touch the big fish. Because for when you touch the big fish, the small fish will eventually cow down and run away and stop. Do you remember the giveaways? You remember the who is that Kutesa? But when she went to contest for MP, the Kutesas organized a candidate against her. When she cried to Mr. Museveni, said, the bad thing with you, you fight your colleagues. But what was fighting? Possibly she did not read well the conditions, the terms of reference when she was made Minister of Ethics and Integrity. So by making sure that people are accountable, by making sure that they are ethical, they are professional, they follow the rules, Mr. Museveni named it fight. Those who remember the Temangalo scandal, when John Patrick Amamba was the then Super Minister, was being nailed in Parliament, took off money after selling money at prices too high to the NSSF. Mr. Museveni went to KIZZA and said, because Mbabazi was my friend, I had to save him. Save him. Ugandan is losing money when he's saving a friend. 2 years ago he was in Busoga. Some 7 told the Basoga that, you see, I've been allowing people to steal because I didn't want to lose support. So head of state actually legalizing stealing. Today when he went to cabinet, all the people were involved in whose names were soiled in the Global Fund, Jim Wezi, this lady Kaboyo, many others, have been bouncing back. Again in the book of Matende, she talks about how she took these people to court. But she could not win cases because she lost them on technicality that the KIZZA office was not fully constituted. And today, before Betty Kamya came in, more than 2 years, the KIZZA office has not been fully constituted. That means that whatever the KIZZA office has been doing, such files could not help government win cases in court. So, I can give you stories and stories. We have seen Barclays going, Uchumi, Tuskys closing, Sertel closed, Zain closed, Peter Session Caltex, Shell, Upet, ESO, British Airways, AfriCell, now Game. Add on the list those other companies that you know that I have forgotten. Qatar had wanted to create a regional hub in Uganda. People do not know what a regional hub means. A regional hub, that means that every plane that comes to Africa will have to stop in Uganda. Do you know how much money and how much attention the country gets? But when they brought the project, the bureaucrats in the government said, you must rub our hands. Because these guys were bringing business and it was attractive and it was not like a fitting that it couldn't fit in Uganda. They decided to leave the country and go to another country. That is how extortion, bribery is affecting our economy. For us, when our Ugandan business collapsed, it's no big deal. But those, the whites who come from economies where people follow rules, where people earn their money with clean hands, where competition is a source of pride, where you win, cannot survive in such a country. John says, this expatriate engineer John, that he had worked in Uganda for 18 years, 18 solid years, and owned a private company between 2001 and 2014. But he says that everything in Uganda is wrong. Mark that everything in Uganda is wrong. If you are to use this kind of language you use, that we live in an abnormal situation, you only make news when you want to act normally in an abnormal situation. So you are seen as I would call you a zonto, a madman. He goes ahead and says that a director of in any government parasite will not give you a contract except pay up front. You want to bid, you are bidding for any contract, you have all the requirements, they say yes. That is why they tell you that you had the issues of the Katosi, that the company that was given the contract, a minister in the government paid money, had to pay off some money, about $3 million to a company established just to meet Mr. Museveni. But in other countries, everybody wants to give him free transport, everything, to make sure that he feels at home and gets the contract. You'll go to my YouTube account called KaijaSpecial, and you see I've talked about the dams, I've talked about the KIZZA sector, of how corruption and bribery has killed everything. So those who pay get the contract. No wonder that in every corner you will see the company that was the third gets the contract, or the fourth. The best doesn't get the contract because they say we don't eat your being best. He goes ahead and says the bank won't give you a loan except we concede a certain percentage. Already the interest rates in Uganda are high. But then somebody tells you, and the guy who is in charge, a loans officer, his responsibility is to get people to come and pick loans. But when you surface and you say you want a loan, he said yes, but for you to get a loan, give me this so much. The one who comes to assess, he wants transfer. But when actually the bank gives you the money. So this is the reason. So at every stage you're paying. You pay the valuer, you pay the one who is going to sign, you pay the loans officer, you pay everybody. So at the end of the day, and you must pay the interest. So a given portion of the money you have not used, but you will pay back with even interest, and the interest is high. No wonder many people in Uganda are defaulting, because it's actually too huge on you. And you are competing with in other countries where the interest rates are lower, and even you don't have to pay to access a loan. He said that the man supervising a contract, one person clear your job, except you play the ball. You see those in the contracts, at every level, they give you a certificate of completion. But for one to sign that certificate, even if you've done a superb job, a first-class job, the guy says, yes, but I must eat. So you put your file there, you keep sitting there. So you must pay something. The clerk won't pass your file for payment, except if you rub his hands. You have seen, to come here you pay, the person who brought you. To stay here, everywhere you pay. To pick a loan you pay. To supervisor you pay. Now even to be paid. They say, yes, your things are there. But for one to say that it's one that is supposed to be paid. There was a very big person here who he's still big, who at one time the monitor described him as the government chief commissions agent. For him, when you have an issue, when you have money you're demanding from government, you go to him and tell him, I'm demanding this so much money, they've not paid me. He will ask you, how much do you give me of that money? You tell him that amount of money, and then in 3 days you have your money. But you say that you have the money, but a huge proportion of the money has been put in briberies or in buying off your way to the top. Then the accounts department won't raise your payment voucher or check unless you see, and you can go on and on. If you don't see them, you say, no, things are not tough, you know, because there is times when they need some kind of adjustments. those kinds of adjustments, you must, as a matter of fact, pay someone. When you hear people in the government speak all the English on behalf of a given company, that's why they tell you somebody has paid. Recently, you heard of the COVID relief. How companies went to the list, God knows. You saw when businessmen who had lost their money in Sudan won compensation. How companies went to the list, God knows. And I can go on and on and on. You must pay. The other day opening arcades in town, those that follow SOPs. So one had to pay. To be clear, say yes, you have all that is required. Even if you had them and you have not paid anybody, at least they will avoid coming to your place. You must pay them to come and see. But even the government pays them to come and supervise. You saw a building that collapsed the other day. All the buildings in this town must have underground parking. But where they're supposed to be parking their shops, somebody picks the money. John says the worst thing is that this has become normal. That nobody sees anything wrong with it. We could even use the new COVID term, the new normal. When you're setting out to do business in Uganda, apart from what is going directly to be in your business, there must be money. Envelopes, we call them brown envelopes, to go paying around in the State House, in finance, in Parliament, committee this, in Uganda Investment Authority, wherever you go. National Bureau of Standards. No wonder they clear borders, and you come here, they are substandard. But they have cleared. If you think otherwise, they start thinking that you are sick and sick. When you start asking that, you know, guys, say, okay, fine. A young man has just told me that to get a job, he had to pay. The nurse had said no time has elapsed. The guy had been there since morning. So he said, I can't come back tomorrow. I can't afford have my transport that I should have used because I'm supposed to be at work. I only asked 1 day off. So when he paid, the lady who said that now it was time to close, so you know, just keep around as they leave. You come and even vaccinate you. And these guys, if you try to stand in their way, you put your life in danger. God point them. No wonder the word mafia has become a new terminology in this country. They do not want to stand in their deal. If you get killed, there is not just a system in place to seek redress and pick the perpetrators to book. You've had files disappear at police. Files. You've had files disappear in court. You've seen very shocking judgments in court. So to somebody who comes from a country that things are straight, you can't it's hard to adjust in this country. The police is very corrupt. You are aware? Asking a police to come at the scene, you must pay. To investigate, you must pay. At every level, you must pay. For the file to go to court, to be sanctioned, to go to the DPP, you must pay. For them to come to court, you must pay. Even pay for them to speak the truth. Not even even, but to speak the truth. Others, if you don't, you lose it. Then they speak to the truth. But the judiciary. No wonder in Uganda you find somebody earning 500,000 shillings, which is less than $200, about $180 per month. But you find a person has a house that is about 100,000 US dollars or 200. He drives a car of about 40,000 US dollars. He takes his children to school, 3 of them each paying about 1,000 US dollars. Then you ask, how do they get that money? John said even religious leaders are not spared. So that tells you of the disaster we are in, that everything in Uganda revolves around corruption. Nobody cares about anybody and anything that stands between them and money. They say, if you don't leave my way, you're finished. John says as an engineer, and with a lot of qualifications, but he has seen distribution and transmission jobs being given to friends and relatives without any basic skills. They say, you want the job, you come and do. So you find you have a boss who is very ignorant about the job. Now you find the guys doing the donkey work are the experts. But this one has the highest salary, he has housing allowance, medical allowance, he has a vehicle, he has everything. But he's angazi. So John started asking himself that how can you convince your children that hard work and education is rewarding? And I've all along talked about this. A country where those who play by the rules, the one who works so hard and cannot succeed, and those who do nothing are rich. People lose interest in education. People lose interest in playing by the rules. People lose interest in being good and being honest. Integrity becomes the victim. In a country, he says, the problem is that the country is ruled by fools from top to bottom. And he wouldn't want to see his children grow and pass through this kind of situation. In 2014, John decided it was enough and he had to pack. He migrated to Australia. It has become a new destiny for many people who want to prosper. He even advises his other fellow foreigners that not put yourself in harm's way for any reason. That the problems in Uganda are in the hands of Ugandans. Hello? The problems in Uganda are in the hands of Uganda. He says that if you want to start a guest house in your village, that everybody wants profit here. A bricklayer wants to get something. You ask a guy to bring 40 bricks, 1,000 bricks, and he will bring 700. A carpenter, you ask for mahogany, he gives you caliclas. A merchant, and even your brother who you say who claims to be supervising on your behalf, is conniving with the other team to cheat you. He says they are all corrupt, morally bankrupt, and selfish. That everybody thinks about himself and nobody thinks about Uganda. So he says you do not have to be the one to go there and change the situation. Let those under the hammer start the revolution. So that is the image of a witness of bribery, extortion, corruption in Uganda. First-hand witness. Speaking outside Uganda, telling the world of who we are. They've always said that we who oppose the government have tainted a bad picture of this country, but the actions of the people in the regime speak louder than what we say. If nothing is done, sooner than later, we are collapsing. We are becoming a failed state. And a failed state, nobody can survive. It becomes a survival for the fittest, which is the rule of the jungle. As the man said, those in Uganda, me and you. For me, I will expand not those in Uganda alone, the Ugandans all over, wherever you are. It is our responsibility to remove this country from the hands of the vampires, from the hands of the hyenas, from the hands of vultures,